Hello from a very rainy day at Universal. I get to use my new clear umbrella that I just bought, so I'm super excited about that. Today I'm here for a very specific reason. Ooh, did you hear that thunder? That's gonna be fun. I'm here for a reason that's not gonna be apparent in this video, but it's gonna be relevant for a video in the future, so keep an eye out for that. But as for today, I'm gonna head in and show off some of my favorite views from around both Universal Studios Florida and Islands of Adventure. So I hope you're excited for that, and I hope I do get some sort of a view today, because it is going to pour down rain. Something that Brendan and I have been talking about fairly recently, a lot of people don't really seem to call these specific theme parks or this resort by their correct name, and that may be very particular as far as a pet peeve can go at the theme parks, but it is Universal's Islands of Adventure and then Universal Studios Florida. For whatever reason, a lot of people, probably because of Universal Studios Hollywood, a lot of people like to call this Universal Studios Orlando, which is not a place. It's the Universal Orlando Resort and then Universal Studios Florida, just for anybody that gets confused by that. So you can see it's pretty much starting to pour down rain over at Islands of Adventure, but over here by Universal, it's just kind of trickling a little bit, so it's probably gonna get a lot worse here soon. Can't even see Aventura over there, and I already checked the app, and pretty much, well, not pretty much, all of the rides are down currently due to weather. I'm really glad that I got this umbrella. I've always wanted the clear umbrella just so I could see beyond it, especially when vlogging. It's actually pretty cool. Well, there are not a lot of people heading into Universal right now, that's for sure. And as you can see, it's pretty deserted inside of Universal Studios right now. Everybody is taking cover due to the weather, and way down there in New York, you can see how dark those clouds are. Hopefully this won't last too long, but the park is only open for about 2.5 more hours. Despicable Me is only a 10-minute wait right now. Shrek is a 25-minute wait. These wait times would have been beneficial when I was trying to do my Universal challenge. Wow, there is nobody at all over here, but look how dark that sky is. That is gonna be unfortunate. So the rain seems to have let up a bit, but the weather is probably gonna get worse. Although the clouds do seem to be going in this direction. Wow, it is windy right now, if you can hear me. There was an incredibly major announcement that happened a couple of days ago that I've still yet to process, that involves this store right over here that I do want to talk about. All right, so the rain came back, but that announcement was that Halloween Horror Nights 2020, the 30th anniversary of Halloween Horror Nights, was canceled. They completely canceled the entire event. A lot of people thought that this tribute store was an indicator that it was going to happen, but it wasn't, and they canceled it. And that is something that makes me really sad. By the way, I'm over here in New York, kind of underneath the Rip Ride Rocket roller coaster, and I can hear on the other side of this facade the Mummy roller coaster going by. Are you insane? Get out of here! The curse, it's real! He's after your souls! So that's cool. So the weather has gotten substantially worse, so I'm going to wait it out a little bit in the New York City subway station. Here, there's the New York Public Library, the facade board back there, Rip Ride Rockets, the Ghostbusters Firehouse, and then Race to New York starring Jimmy Fallon, as well as all of these streets of New York, which are pretty much empty. I completely understand why Halloween Horror Nights could not happen this year in any capacity as far as we're aware of right now. It's very disappointing, especially as somebody who's a relatively new fan of the event. I've gone the past few years and I've gotten the free beer pass, and it's an addicting environment, an atmosphere to immerse yourself in, and I can see why so many people love Halloween Horror Nights, and it's such a popular local event that it's just going to be a major hit to the spirit of people around here. I know that for a fact, but I do hope that will just mean that next year can just be even more incredible, and we can just really look forward to it. And I know that they would have put the event on this year if they could have in any fashion, but just for the safety and the implemented procedures that they would have had to put into effect, I guess it just wasn't realistic, which is sad, but I get it. That's where I was, right there in the New York City subway. And here's the tribute store. This will probably still open in some capacity, but it's gonna be hard to know how. If they're gonna be selling this year's merchandise, or if they're gonna hold on to that merchandise and utilize the houses and properties for next year. I don't know, because next year is still gonna be Halloween Horror Nights 30, because it couldn't happen this year. So the weather has not subsided yet, really at all, but I wanted to go and get moving because it was getting a little stuffy in that subway station. I'm very tempted to ride a couple rides like Mummy, but I think I've had my fair share of rides for a little bit. I can take a little time just to walk around. I think I've earned that. I keep trying to duck in and find a spot to try to get out of the rain. Well, it's just really coming down right now, and I found a spot along one of the streets of America, and there's nobody else here whatsoever. This is over by Transformers I'm trying to keep it moving here because my goal today was to try to show off some of my favorite spots to get some good views here at Universal, to try to make an interesting video out of this. But if it continues to rain, that's not going to really be that much of a view, is it? The side streets of New York City are probably going to be one of the best bets to try to find a spot to get out of the rain. If you're just coming here on a normal day, without a doubt, maybe not so much over here, but at least where I'm standing right now is pretty nice. Do you see how hard it is coming down right now? Wow. I was gonna get some Auntie Anne's pretzels, but I stopped by and they are currently closed, so that's unfortunate. Would have been a great time to chow down on some pretzels, but alas, I am alone with no pretzels. That's Auntie Anne's right over there. That's the alley that I just came out. There's really nobody in the street at Universal, and I don't blame them because the weather is just pretty bad right now, but I'm hoping it'll lighten up a little bit because the sky looks like it probably will. I would also come over here to this window to get some garlic knots, but they aren't open either. You have to go inside, Louise. Dough! I just want some dough and some marinara sauce. Okay, so I'm gonna try to stick true to the purpose of me being here today, which is going to try to find some of my favorite views of the parks, around the parks, even though it's pouring down rain and I'm doing my best. So one of them is gonna be over here by Richter's Burgers. As a heads up, most of these places are definitely gonna be around the lagoons of both Universal and over at Islands of Adventure, because I love the expansive perspective that a lagoon view gives you of the theme parks. It's just nice and open, and I love it. More so than a lagoon view, I just love the areas that get you off of the main path of the theme park. So that's where I just came from, behind Richter's, and I'm heading behind Lombard's. Okay, I'm heading down this little pathway behind Lombard's because it's an area that I just recently found out that I can actually go to, and I do enjoy coming back here whenever I can. Usually not so much when it's pouring down rain, but I will take what I can get. I think it's interesting because too many people just go into a quick service restaurant like Richter's Burgers, or they come into Lombard's and they sit inside and they just don't really take advantage of the space around those quick service locations. And you just get a really nice, secluded view of everything going on. There's not much going on right now because everybody's running away from the rain, but here it is. There's Transformers way over there, Rip Ride Rockets. The park closes in about an hour and a half now, and I don't know if these rides are going to reopen again, but we'll see. If there's anything that I love more than a lagoon view, it's going to be an aerial view. That second floor of Lombard's, Brennan and I went up there one time, and I'm pretty positive the pass holders can go up on the second floor right now, but I do have to keep it moving so I can make it over to Islands of Adventure to try to find some fun lagoon view spots over there. I still haven't decided what the point of this video is. It to try to find places to get out of the rain, or is it to show off some cool lagoon perspectives? I don't know. So it's not a lagoon view, but I came into Diagon Alley because usually the rain provides a pretty unique perspective of the thoroughfare here in front of Gringotts Bank with the minimal amount of people because of the rain. It's pretty nice. It's not that bad, right? So I have to pick up the pace a little bit before the park's closed because I do want to make it over to Islands of Adventure. This is cool. The little head inside of the night bus is taking a nap. Never noticed that before. Okay, continuing around. I almost said the World Showcase. This is not the World Showcase. This is the Universal Studios Lagoon. And then making it over to Islands within about an hour and 15 minutes, I hope. I just have a few more areas to show off here at Universal Studios before I head over to Islands, and probably one of my favorites is right over here next to the Simpsons, where you just get a beautiful view of the entire park. Pretty much you can see almost every single area at Universal Studios in this shot, more or less. So one of my areas that is a little bit of a stretch is actually the exit to the Simpsons ride, specifically the third floor up there, and you should be able to go up the exit of a ride, I believe. So I'm gonna try to and see what happens. So the Simpsons ride has 3 levels that it lets out of, and one of them is all the way up there on the 3rd floor. Would you believe it? So I'm gonna try to go up the ramp and try to see if I can get a nice aerial perspective from the Simpsons ride. All right, I made it up to the 3rd floor of the Simpsons. This is the highest that you can go. And there it is. What a nice view from up here, right? You can see Kangen Kodos, Twirl and Hurl down there, the Wizarding World across the way, pretty much all of Fast Food Boulevard, San Francisco. This is nice. Don't really come up here that often, but when I do, it's great. Oh no, it looks like it rained on the camera. Bummer. All right, now I'm gonna head to another area over in Springfield that I do love to check out, and that is gonna be behind the Duff Beer Bar for another view of the lagoon. This one pretty much gives the same view as my third floor Simpsons ride aerial perspective of the park, but it's right on the water. So that's nice. There's Lombard's directly across from me. There's Richter's, and then way down there is the seating area for the cinematic celebration. And that area is going to be my final lagoon view spot, which is going to be Central Park. This is just an area that I enjoy in general, not necessarily for the view, but just for the solitude. It's always been very quaint. Before it was this viewing area, not a seating area, a viewing area for the cinematic celebration. It was a really, really nice quiet area, and it pretty much still is because it remains open. But this is where you can watch the show, and people watch a little bit over there in San Francisco. Pretty much just anywhere in the park for the most part, so that's cool. There's not really an area back here in Kids Zone that provides an interesting view. There used to be, back in this play area, I believe on the second floor, by a slide, you could get at least kind of an aerial perspective of the park, but this area remains closed, unfortunately. Pretty much right up there, you can kind of see it, right there behind the water slide tube. All right, so I'm on my way over to Islands of Adventure here in a little bit. Oh, this is a brand new stand over here, a new crepe stand, so I'm definitely gonna have to go back and try that at some point. This is right outside Central Park. But I think I've pretty much showcased all of my favorite views, I guess, in Universal Studios, for the most part, slash areas to get out of the rain. It seems like the rain has finally let up for the day, which is fantastic. It only took until the final hour of both parks being open, but better than just raining all day, right? So I'm heading over to Islands of Adventure. All right, I made it over to Islands of Adventure. I have about 45 minutes until the park closes, so hopefully that's enough time to make a lap around the lagoon and show off some of my favorite locations to just look at things and stuff. You'll have to bear with me a little bit because I am here for technically a different reason today that I'm doing as I'm making this video. So all this will maybe make more sense once you see what I hopefully have planned that hopefully works out. I do have a hint as to what I'm doing today, and there it is. Does that not make sense? I'm sorry. It will at some point. Oh, water keeps getting on the lens. All right, so my first stop here is gonna be down here by the lagoon, the U-Rest area, right in front of the port of entry, because this is probably one of my favorite views in the entirety of Islands of Adventure. It looks like the Hulk is back up and running after the 2-hour-long inclement weather. So that's cool. But I'm coming all the way down here, straight down to the lagoon, because you get to see every single island. You get to see where you just came from, the port of entry. You can see Seuss Landing. You can see the Lost Continents, Jurassic Park, Toon Lagoon, and then Marvel's Superhero Island. You can just see every single aspect of this entire theme park, and it's usually very, very quiet and secluded. So speaking of the pass holder special over at Lombard's over here at Confisco, I believe pass holders are able to dine on the second level up there right now, which that's cool, and I'm pretty positive that that would give an incredible perspective on the parks just right up there. I didn't even know that you could go up there. But I'm heading through Seuss Landing now. So Seuss Landing has another one of my favorite secluded, quiet areas. Not necessarily an incredible view of the park, even though it has that too, but so few people come over here to enjoy this quiet area along the water. See, there goes Behind the Sky Seuss Trolley Train Ride, and that gives an incredible perspective of the parks, which I don't think I'm gonna have time for because the park's too close in almost half an hour. About half an hour, 45 minutes. There's the Incredible Hulk roller coaster straight over there. I'm along the Sneech Beach here. I don't know, this is just one of my favorite areas, especially now with the Jurassic Park roller coaster construction over there. You get a really, really nice view of that from over here, but not as good as you're gonna get over here by my next stop, which is gonna be the Lost Continents. The area that I'm about to go check out is gonna be behind Mythos. I've been here quite a lot, and it's an area that I have become a little bit more fond of. This is an area that I didn't really have much of a reason to come back and explore previously until they started building the Jurassic Park roller coaster right over there. But the more that I've come back over here, and I've realized that it's okay to come back over here if you don't have a dining reservation at Mythos, then it's a pretty cool area to see the majority of the park. Not to mention the incredible architecture of Mythos. It's just absolutely fantastic. The waterfalls. There's a griffin underneath me, I'm pretty positive, or some sort of mythical creature. There's this gentleman holding up the rock work. Thank you very much, sir. Could not do that myself. But then here's the view that you can get from behind Mythos, one of mostly Marvel Superhero Island, for sure. You can see the weather that just kind of rolled in. It's hopefully rolling out for the most part. And then the Jurassic Park roller coaster construction that they have ultimately completed, I believe, at least this side of the coaster. They completed the topmost part, so that's cool. But I am not here today to cover construction updates. I'm here to walk around and show off the views of things. Heading to the Lost Continent, there's not really much else to see in terms of a view, at least heading into the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I could go behind the 3 broomsticks, but there's not really much of a view back there right now because of the roller coaster that's being built. This is a pretty quiet area heading into the Wizarding World. Everybody out here is probably waiting for return times for Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, where they're waiting for it to open back up, which it may not open back up, but I'm hearing it open right now. Okay, well, right as I said that, the line opened for Hagrid's with about 30 minutes to spare before the park closes. So these people are incredibly lucky because literally the line just reopened. This may be one of the quietest that I've ever seen Hogsmeade, especially considering that it's not really raining right now. It's trickling a little bit. Wow, this is the most comfortable that I've ever been walking through here. I decided to go and pop behind 3 broomsticks anyway, just to see if there's really any view back here worth mentioning with the Jurassic Park roller coaster construction. I don't really see much of anything other than the coaster itself being really cool, but you could probably get a pretty nice perspective of the castle. Probably going to be a little bit backlit, but there it is. And it's a sight that you don't really get to see too often unless you come over here specifically. There's currently not a single person on the walkway over to Jurassic Park. So this is also relatively unprecedented. Oh, here comes the people, darn it. But this is also one of my favorite views, and it's a classic. The view of Hogwarts Castle. Right there as the sun is starting to go down. There used to be an incredible view behind the Jurassic Park Discovery Center. Over here we could go down to the lagoon, but because of the construction, that is now no longer a place that you can go. It seems like right now with this roller coaster construction, they're working on the exteriors of the ride show building as well as the rock work right over here. So that's going to be pretty cool. Look how quiet it is over here. Now normally Camp Jurassic would have multiple areas that I would consider some of my favorite perspectives in the entire park as far as just what you can see and the experience that you can have, but unfortunately it is closed right now, the exception being Pteranodon Flyers. A little bit off of the main path, you can see the Jurassic Park River Adventure Splashdown. If you head right around the corner, that's the main path over there. There's Skull Island Reign of Kong. There's nobody over here right now because the park's closed in 15 minutes. As you can see, it's a little bit quiet over here by Skull Island Reign of Kong. I imagine everybody is heading towards the front of the park to get the final few rides so they can try to get in before the park closes. Speaking of that time frame, I should probably try to expedite the rest of my trip today because the park is going to be closing very soon, and I do want to try to make it back behind Ship the Olive, as well as over back behind Marvel Superhero Island if I can, and the park's closed in, again, 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm heading back behind Ship the Olive, which is over by Bluto's Bilge-Trap barges. Hopefully I have enough time before the park closes. This is probably next to the port of entry Lagoon view. Gonna be one of my favorite lagoon views just because of, again, how secluded it is, where you could really just come down here and explore and just feel completely alone. I feel like I sincerely find a new pathway to explore every time I come over here, which is just really pleasant. You get an incredible view of the Jurassic Park roller coaster construction over here, which is why myself and really a lot of people that are showing off this construction as it proceeds enjoy coming over here, because this truly is the best view of it that you're gonna get in the entire park. And speaking of the park, I have about 5 more minutes to make it over to Marvel before the park does close. You do get an incredibly good view of the rest of the park over here. There goes Hulk again, there's Dr. Doom. And this is my last area that I wanted to try to walk over to before the park closes if I can. Really, this one you just get to be right next to the Incredible Hulk roller coaster, so that's kind of the benefit of this spot, I suppose. Here comes an empty raft about to go underneath the bridge. It's incredible at the end of July, which would be one of the busiest times of year for Universal, that they have empty rides and short park hours. It's not really interesting, it's warranted and understandable, I guess it's just sad. Okay, and as of right now, Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida are closed for the evening, but I'm gonna try to go right behind the Captain America diner to get one last view. And here I am inside Marvel Superhero Island. The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man just closed their doors, but I'm heading right back over here on my way out of the park. I believe the Hulk roller coaster should be launching here in just a second. And here it comes. And then here's one last look at the Islands of Adventure around the lagoon. A little bit backlit because it's about 6 o'clock tonight right now. Still get a really, really nice view of one of my favorite theme parks in all of Orlando. And thus concludes my trip to Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure today to show off some of my favorite views in both parks, as well as to prepare for a video that I'm going to be releasing in the future. Time to head back to the parking garage to try to maybe beat the rain home. I don't know, it looks really, really dark. Is that what just left, or is that yet to come? I should really look at a radar every now and then, but I got to use my transparent umbrella, so that's cool. So thank you for hanging out with me today. I know it didn't make a lot of sense as to why I was here, but maybe it'll make a little bit more sense the next Universal video that you see, hopefully. But I'd like to think that I made it at least mildly, maybe not interesting, but at least you followed along with me on my day today, where I otherwise probably wouldn't have filmed anything and just kept to my idea as to why I'm here, and I'm leaving in the dark with that, and I'm sorry, but it was still fun. I got poured on, I took a lap around Universal and Islands, and checked out a few things that were new, but otherwise just had a day here where I just got some exercise, and that makes me happy. So I'll see you soon. You have a good day, and goodbye.